What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another episode of the 5 Takeaways, where we're going to take a look at the 2-2 draw with Manchester United at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium yesterday and see what 5 things we can take away from the game. First up is better Romero.
Yeah, and I think Romero looked much better yesterday. Not maybe close back to his best, but definitely a lot better than he has in recent games. And I think the stats bear out as well in terms of his defensive contributions. He won 4 out of 4 aerial duels. He won 6 out of 8 ground duels, 4 clearances, 4 interceptions, 6 tackles throughout the game, 4 out of 5 long passes completed as well, 3 block shots, and most importantly, no yellow card as well. So I thought it was a much better display for Romero. Really happy that we got to see it. And I think last few games, like our whole defence, he's been all at sea, kind of nowhere near the play, not on top of anything. But I think yesterday was a big difference.
Yeah, I do agree with that, but I do feel like he could have done better with that first goal that we did concede. I felt like him and Porro just stood off Jadon Sancho a bit too much. But after that, I completely agree. He definitely grew into the game and became one of our best players on the pitch yesterday. So big up to Kuti. Let's move on to the second takeaway, and that is Sonny home.
Yeah, and that's now 4 consecutive games at home that Son has now scored in. So he is definitely starting to find his feet in the home game. In the home games, I did think overall he put in a pretty decent display. He completed 5 out of 5 dribbles, so never didn't get tackled pretty much throughout the game. 8 out of 8 ground duels as well, so he's really putting in the hard work in terms of tackles and duels with other players. 1 key pass, obviously did score the equaliser just after missing a gilt-edged chance. And not only is it 4 consecutive home goals now for Son in home games, he's actually this season 10 goals in 20 home games this season. So his home record paints a different picture to his season.
Yeah, I mean, look, there is a narrative forming around Son that he's had a dreadful season, and by his high standards, he has, to be honest. But he is definitely stepping up of late, and I think that's 4 home games in a row where he scored 10 all season. So definitely in his home comforts, he seems all right. It's just the away performances where he seems to be lacking a bit at the moment. But yesterday, I thought he definitely stepped up massively. Should have had his first goal a bit earlier on in the game, but he got that equaliser right at the death to grab us that point late on. So nice performance from Sonny. Let's move on to number 3, and that is Creator-in-Chief.
And that is Harry Kane, who definitely was at his creative best yesterday. Wasn't so involved in terms of shooting opportunities, but he definitely took responsibility in terms of creating Tottenham chances, getting on the ball in deep positions, and definitely playing through balls. And he had 5 key passes yesterday, no more than any other player, and he created 3 big chances, which was more than any other player as well. So he really was laying them on a plate for his teammates, and if it wasn't for some poor finishing, he would have had more assists as well.
Yeah, he was just a joy to watch yesterday. Harry Kane, he was hovering in that middle area of the pitch. Everything was just going through him as well. His passing ability was on show for everyone to see yesterday. Didn't do too much of impact in the actual box, but I think that his general play, hovering around that midfield area, was absolutely sublime. So I enjoyed every second of that Harry Kane performance, especially in that second half. Let's move on to number 4, and that is on the front foot.
Yeah, and that's Tottenham in general. We created 2.5 XG yesterday with all the chances that we created, and that's our highest XG in terms of overall. It's our highest XG since October, since we beat Frankfurt at home, and it's our highest non-penalty XG as well since we played Fulham in September at home when we beat them 2-1. So it's in terms of the attacking numbers and the chances we created, it's the best chances we've created since that time. And you can maybe put that down to Mason and how he had the team playing in that second half, but we created a lot of chances throughout the game, and that goes to show with the numbers.
Yeah, definitely, and you've got to give a big up for Ryan Mason for coming in and giving the place a lift, albeit for that game. You saw the attacking football on show. Defensive frailties were still there, but it was just nice to see Spurs go out there, create chance after chance, and actually make a game a bit enjoyable to watch. So big up for that. And let's move on to the last and fifth and final takeaway, and that is fifth place ceiling.
Yeah, and obviously we knew top four was pretty much gone even before this game. But in terms of putting in the maths of top four now, Tottenham can only get a maximum of 69 points this season. So Man United only need 9 more points, and Newcastle only need 7 more points to mathematically be above us, and they've got games in hand as well. So it does seem as though fifth is going to be the ceiling for us this season for sure. We are level on points now with Aston Villa, who are in sixth. We're only ahead of them goal difference. 1 point ahead of Liverpool, who have 1 game in hand. We're 5 points ahead of Brighton, who have 3 games in hand. So we do have a bit of a fight on to keep that, just keep that Europa League spot, to be honest, let alone pushing any higher than that. But definitely fifth is the highest we can finish. But it's going to be very difficult with Villa still to play, Liverpool on Sunday as well. Keeping that Europa League spot is going to be difficult enough, it seems.
Yeah, it looks as though fourth and Champions League has drifted away from us for this season. I would like to finish in the 5th or 6th position just so we do have some sort of European football, but there is a part of me that just thinks going out of Europe wouldn't be the worst thing in the world whatsoever. So I'm kind of hoping we finish 5th or 6th, but I wouldn't be too downhearted if we do finish 8th for next season and just concentrate on domestic football for next season. But it's looking like if we can pull ourselves together for the latter stage of the season, last few games of the season, we can get that Europa League spot, especially with what we showed in that second half yesterday. But there are very tough tests to come. I mean, if we can avoid defeat, get 4 points or something out of the next 2 games, Liverpool and Villa, you probably say we'll make ourselves favourites for that Europa League spots.
If we avoid defeat in those 2 games, yeah, I would. But are we going to?
Yeah,
that's the big question.
That's
the big question.
But look, that is your 5 takeaways from the game yesterday. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought of our takeaways, and if we've missed anything out, let me know your takeaways in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,
come on, you Spurs.